afternoon. It is Saturday, July 9th, or I'm sorry, August 9th. Won't pass. I am Bruce Leonard. This is Bruce Leonard Leans Left while still legal. Still legal today. And some here. But I don't know if you've noticed, but the White House getting tackier and tackier by the day. Just but every day it's like more gold trim. It's like gold on the doors now. It's like the back patio looks like a Panera Bread fucking outside seating area. It is they got the monstrous RV lot fucking flagpole with the ginormous 5,000 square foot flag. They get a hurricane to like blow it out outside. It's so heavy. And it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. Now, again, I don't want to tell you that I predict the future on this show because if you watch this show, you know I do. So here we go. Putin is about to give away Ukraine to save himself from the Epstein files. He's going to say, all right now, Russia's going to keep all the land, including Crimea that they illegally annexed. And Ukraine's going to give up some territory here. Everything's going to be good. And then he'll go, look, I stopped the war. You tell me that Trump is not a fucking Putin asset. You got to be fucking kidding me, man. I don't know if you know this, but Putin is an indicted war criminal. And Trump's just inviting him to come to the United States. Come to Alaska. It's just a short jump across. You know, Sarah Palin can see you from her house. Jump across the pond there, and I'll give you everything you want. Yes, boss. People said you were crazy, but you know what's crazy? Is that all these things are in everyone's face, plain view, for you to see, and no one cares. Well, I mean, people care, but people like me, us, we care. But the Trumpers, they don't care. They don't care. It's all a hoax. It's a hoax. He's giving him everything he wants. It's you got derangement syndrome. The economy's doing great. Did you see his charts? This is no shit. This is what it is. The jobs report sucked. He fired the woman that put it out, even though she really didn't have much to do with it. Like, there's a whole staff of people that put these reports together. It's not like she took a Sharpie to it like Trump would. It's like Trump could have like 500 people put together a report. He didn't like it. He just take his Sharpie out, like, put in there whatever he wants. We lost 100,000 jobs. No, we gained 100,000. And that's what we're saying. And that's what he would say and do. And that's what he did. He came out 2 days later with some big charts. Oh, look, everything's great. Look at all this money I'm bringing in with the tariff. It's like, you're not bringing in money, bro. It's our money. Who pays the tariffs? We pay the tariffs. We pay them. The importer pays the tariff, which means the money didn't come from anywhere but your pocket, or the company you work for's pocket, which eventually is going to come out of your pocket in the form of higher prices or lower wages or job layoffs or all different kinds of things that can happen. He said, it's all good. Then he starts saying, if the courts rule against the tariffs, it'll cause a Great Depression. Which means that he's already saying it, so that when there is a depression because of his dumb fuck policies, he'll blame it on the courts or somebody else. That's Trump's number one talent, is figuring out a way to say it was someone else's fault, even if he was driving the car. If Trump was driving the car and ran over somebody, he would somehow blame the person he ran over. That was their fault for jumping in front of my car. Sir, there was a red light and they were crossing at the crosswalk. It's their fault. He wouldn't have been jumped in front of the car. I wouldn't have hit him. It's his fault. Or it's a hoax. I never hit anybody. There's a dead guy right there. I didn't hit him. He was planted there by Democrats. Hey, Julia, what's up? It's unbelievable. That's Trump's number one talent, though, is figuring out how to blame someone else for anything he did. I love it. It's just on tape. His caddy just dropping golf balls all over the place. And then he's like, I won! Of course you won. The fucking caddy's dropping golf balls out of his pocket. Like, I won the tournament. Of course you did. Of course everyone on the course sees it. Everyone's afraid to say something. They just laugh. They go, there he goes again. Cheating motherfucker. You can't even play golf without cheating. This guy cannot do anything honest in his life. He has never done one thing honest. Why do you think he won't show his college records? Because he didn't because they didn't spike his grades for him, and he got he's average to below average student. And he doesn't want you to know that he's fucking stupid. So he hides it. Why would you hide your college records? He hides everything. That's why I said, even if whatever's in the file, Epstein file, is not like, oh, Trump was diddling little girls or whatever. It doesn't matter. His natural instinct is to hide everything, which just makes him look more guilty. He hides it, it calls it a hoax. It's a hoax! If it's a hoax, then why are you so worked up about it? Why are you terrified to show the truth in the file? Because he's full of shit. And like I said, that's his whole thing. To lie, obfuscate, hide. At this point, I said, they just let the President of the United States go on TV and just say, whatever. Anything that comes into his fucking... He says the dumbest shit and nobody says anything. Yes, Julia says he's the walking version of the meme with the guy putting a stick in the spikes. Yes, exactly. God damn it, someone else's fault. When's the last time you heard Donald Trump say that he did something wrong? That it was his fault, that something happened? Never. Never. And that is the first sign of serious character flaws. When you can never, ever, ever say, I probably could have done that better, or I did this and therefore this happened. It was a mistake, or whatever. Nope. It's someone else's fault. Democrats, Biden, Obama. Now, did you see now he's going after Letitia James, the woman who prosecuted this fraud case. which he lost. Had to pay it's under appeal, but he's under a $450 million judgment, which he'll never pay. That's the other thing Trump's good at. Not paying for shit. I was reading an article the other day. This is true. You know, Elon Musk got all mad about California and the COVID restrictions. And he said, like Rogan, he was like, I will leave. Take all the Tesla operations down to Texas. Which he did. Right? But to do that, he had to build a bunch of infrastructure and shit and like put Tesla in Texas. So what he did was exactly what Trump or all these other rich people do. Is he just hired a bunch of contractors to do all this work, and then he stiffed them. He didn't pay them. They owe hundreds of millions of dollars to contractors, and now they all got to sue them and try to go to court, you know. There was a woman whose business had to file bankruptcy because she did all this work for Tesla, and he didn't pay her. Guy's fucking almost a trillionaire. He's got hundreds of billions of dollars, and he's stiffing these people because he's an asshole. That's what I'm saying. These people are dicks. There's not a redeeming quality about any of them. You see how easily Elon Musk just stole Stephen Miller's wife. Now, I feel sorry for Stephen Miller, but I'm saying he just stole a guy's wife, fucked her for a few months or whatever, and now they're broken up, and she's got to start a podcast. These people have no souls. They eat each other because they're like rats. If you put all these rats together, like they'd start eating each other. And that's what these people are. They're scumbags. That's why they all got money. Because they're scumbags. You know, they're willing to break all the rules. You know. These people are heavily invested. I don't understand how this is legal. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's lots of things wrong with the system. But the number one thing is these people are invested in these prison companies that they're now using to build migrant detention facilities all over the country, which are paid for by government money, which goes into their pocket. How is that legal? How is it a way to run a country? And people say, well, you can't, it's freedom, you can't tell them they can't be. Hey, if you're going to get in the government, you got to divest from anything that's government related like that. You can't have like a big giant defense contractor like Lockheed Martin or something, right? For example, let's just say, use them as an example. You own a bunch of stock in Lockheed Martin. Now, if you start a war, you're going to make money. You can't. You think these people care about people's lives? Donald Trump literally said in the Oval Office that the Epstein files was a hoax and total bullshit. There's 1,000 victims alive of sexual abuse and sex trafficking from these people. And he just stands there and calls it a hoax. The man doesn't give two shits about anybody. No human beings. Except himself. I mean, he don't even love his wife. She's just a fucking piece of meat for him. She's a trophy. You know, just something to make it look good. Who introduced him to his wife? Really? Jeffrey Epstein? Really? Not to introduce him to his wife. Yes. But that has nothing to do with anything. They're not friends. And even if they were, he didn't know what they were doing. Even though he's changed his story 10 fucking times now. People just let him get away with this stuff. I've never seen anything like it. You know this? You know Trump now has a souvenir shop in the White House. A Trump store. You know them Trump stores you see like in Tennessee and Georgia? There's one right now. In the lobby of the White House. Selling trucker hats and shit. This country is classy. Meanwhile, I said, they must be feeling really powerful and strong because they're starting to let the mask slip. This guy was on CNN, one of these mega church preachers that is a Christian nationalist that thinks that America should be a Christian theocracy. They also believe that women should submit to their men, you know, and be subservient, right? Well, this guy gave an interview to CNN, and that was it. And Hegseth is out there fucking sharing it, posting it. Women should submit. Then you don't have to pay them $50,000 to keep their mouth shut. Julia says, see, I don't know about that. No, I mean, I'll read your comment, but I want to preface it by saying I don't know about this. But Julia says, lest we forget that there were little boys on the accuser list against Trump. His fixer paid them for their silence as well. I do know that there were some settlements. But I don't know about boys. I never heard of anything like that. Trump always seemed to me like he liked little, he likes girls, young girls. That's why. Well, you think he had a teen pageant? He's a fucking perv. That's why. Like all these things are just a coincidence, right? He was best friends with the sex trafficker who trafficked teenage girls to rich men, and then he also bought the Miss Teen USA pageant and routinely bust into the locker room so he could gawk around while they were fucking putting on their bikinis or whatever. These are facts, known facts. It's not like, oh, you gotta make shit up. People just accept this stuff. I saw a thing, a poll said over 40% of Republicans would still support Trump, even if he was implicated. That's half the Republican Party almost. That would accept that he was that he was a pedophile who fucked young girls. Well, it's a small price to pay for getting rid of immigrants. Or whatever the fuck they're trying to do. I mean, for white nationalism or for what? I mean, insert whatever heinous thing, you could. See, this is my problem. We're way past, the arguments that they make, you just don't like me because we disagree politically. No, yeah, well, I mean, if you want to say that, I guess that's true. But what you've done is made everything political, everything, including things that should be moral, morality. Morality is not political. There's right and there's wrong. It doesn't mean right or left. Now, people bicker and argue about what's right or wrong. Like you said, they think that saying the N-word is not wrong. Let's just use that as an example. And they should be able to say it however they want, wherever they want. The problem is, these people are assholes. Period. The men and the women, Trumpers. They're dicks. And they think that if you say, hey man, you shouldn't be a dick, that somehow you're oppressing them. Somehow. It's oppression! Trump was on TV yesterday. Or I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. And this literally what he said. He was talking about farm workers, and he was like, well, people in the inner city, they won't do these jobs. You know, we've tried. We've tried. Oh, yeah, really. He goes, they won't do it. But these people, he's about Mexicans and shit. He's like, they do it naturally. Like, they do it. He's like, they don't get a bad back. Really? He goes, yeah, because you ask him, do you get a bad back? He goes, I can't get a bad back or I'll die. It's the most ignorant, racist shit that you ever hear anybody saying in their life. And there's a fucking media reporter sitting across from him, just going, yes, Mr. President. You're like, holy shit, that's... You're the President of the United States. You can't be more cute than that. Really? He talks like your drunk uncle at Thanksgiving. All the time, that's how he talks. They even said, oh, the president, you know, you gotta do diplomacy and all that shit. You gotta be thoughtful about, nope, not this guy. He's just diarrhea out the fucking mouth 24 hours a day. And when he ain't fucking talking shit, he's tweeting shit. The guy never stops spewing bullshit one way, out of his mouth, or maybe he can't talk, he gets a Twitter. But thank you, Questel. She says she's in a loud bar, so she can't hear me. But here's her like and comment to help the show. See? You're a #1 fucking fan. The reason why I do this show is people like you. It's like, she's like, I can't watch the show, but I want to help the algorithm. That's what you call fucking dedication, my friends. Yeah, like I said, he just spews nonsense. And they just sit there and let him do it. Nobody says, are you serious about that? Like did no Mexicans have a bad back? Are you fucking kidding me? Guys out there picking avocados 12 hours a fucking day. You think his back don't hurt? Oh, I know, he's Mexican. That's like... It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. I never ever thought that I would live in a time like this. What? You're talking about a president who, I said, his cult is so loyal. They're like, we don't even care if he's implicated in pedophilic sex trafficking. Really? Oh, no. I mean, come on, we all like little girls, don't we? No. No. No, we don't. I'm 52, right? I feel weird if a girl's like in her mid-20s. I mean, it's not like it's illegal or you couldn't do it, but I'm saying is like you're still kind of being a creep, aren't you? People go, well, she's grown up. And that's true, I guess. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. But I'm saying, I still feel like, yeah, I mean, you know what he meant by when Julia says that's a problem. They see the immigrants as workhorses. Now they want the lowly American peasants to become homegrown workhorses. Yeah, but my question is, think about what he said. All the way down to the pit of it. He said, People in the inner cities, we tried. They don't do this work. We tried that once. We tried that before. What the fuck do you think he meant? You know who he's talking about. That's why I keep telling you, these people are not that far removed from the Confederacy itself. These attitudes, that's what it is. They're putting full-on white nationalist propaganda on the websites of the Homeland Security, the White House. Like now, it's not even like a secret. So I said, Julie, of course. He's talking about fucking slavery. He's probably too stupid. Like, I don't think that he thought that's what he was talking about. But, like, that's how he thinks, and he's too stupid to hide it. He just spews out, you know, his real thoughts. And plus, at this point, why hide it? No one gives a shit. Like I said, you said 47%. 47% of the Republican Party said they would still support him if he was a pedophile sex trafficker. That's worse than shooting someone on Fifth Avenue or wherever he said before. And they're like, we still love him. That's when you know. So break that down. Right? There's two parties, so you take 50-50, right? And then take half of that party. It's like 1/4. But there's wild people that aren't in parties, so you mark that in. So you go, okay, maybe it's a fifth, 1/6 of the country are total white Christian nationalist fanatics who think that even if the president was a pedophile sex trafficker, that that's okay. There's a small price to pay for your heritage. Yes. She lived in Vegas. I've seen her before, Marsha. My friend Brandon, he knew her. I never actually met her, but I think I've heard her say something similar to that. George Wallace, he's always saying shit like that. It's a plantation, the whole country. Yeah, it is. The whole capitalist system is, really. That's why I'm always like, you know, this I don't think that I can change the system or you know, change the world or cause a radical, but like all these systems don't work. They're all designed to fuck over regular people, you know, and for rich people to have their fucking boot on your neck. You're really just a slave, you know. Until you get enough money that you don't have to work for someone else. That's why I was so happy before. I finally had worked my way out, completely out of working for other people. And I was controlling my own life. And to me, and I said I didn't make $1 million or anything, but I was making a living, working for myself, doing what I wanted to do. That, to me, is success. You don't know how liberating it was to, you know. And then, of course, I still worked, but I didn't have to. And the jobs I was doing were fun. I was working in fucking events in Las Vegas. You know. Why would you not do that? You know, I'm gonna have a chance to watch a concert that I would have paid, you know, $400 to see if I paid for it. Instead, I'm just standing down in front of the stage, watching the show, getting paid. And I can walk away from that job anytime I want it. You know, I literally, I could say, I'm leaving next week, so don't schedule me. So it wasn't really like a job. It's like, they'll pay you money when you want to show up. That's the fucking king job. And you can take off whenever you want. You don't get paid. There's not paid time off, but I just go, hey man, I'm going away for 3 weeks to do stand-up comedy, so don't schedule me until the first of next month. All right. And then when I came back home, when I wasn't touring, I could still make money, and I'm just watching fucking sports and concerts and things. And if I'm not watching them, I'm meeting famous people and escorting them around. Like it's yeah. Julia says my hubby was his own boss for more than 50 years, and no, he didn't get wealthy, but we never did without. But that's my point. The capitalist system, it's wage slavery, And you think about 8 hours a day. That's a lot. It's a lot of your life that they just steal from you. You just take it. And if you want to do something else, that's why a lot of entertainers and people like that, the more successful ones, are related to, or the sons or daughters of other entertainers, because those people didn't have to work 8 hours a day. They said, I want to be an actor too, and they said, okay, and they paid for their acting classes the time they were little kids and shit, and they could practice their craft without having to work at McDonald's 8 hours a day. People like me who come from poor background, I never could stop working. So I always had a job, and then I was in a band, and then, for my band I have to practice. It's a professional band. So 3 days a week practice, that's another job. So you got 2 jobs now, and I said, and then you got to go out and play all the shows. You got to do the promotions, yourself. You got to print the flyers, put the flyers on the cars, all the things that you did in the 90s, whatever. But there wasn't all this online promotion back then. It was still like punk rock. You went to Kinko's and you printed flyers, and you went to wherever you were playing, the week that you were playing, and you put all those flyers like under a fucking windshield wiper on someone's car, and you hoped that they would come to your show. Or you went to the beach or the mall, and you just walked around and said, hey, we're in a band, and you give out flyers. It was work. So you're working an 8-hour shit or 8-hour job. Then you got to go to, and I'm not complaining in any way, I'm just trying to explain to you like what it's like for an artist who's trying to get a career off the ground, but he doesn't have a bunch of money, But I didn't have to work at all. I could have, and then let's say, for instance, when I wanted to be a comedian, same thing. It's like, okay, I don't want to be a comedian, so I started going to open mic. And you go to open mic, and you do 5 minutes or whatever. And then you realize, like, man, I have to get this 5 minutes down, I have to rehearse this on stage, 100 times. And then I can't only have 5 minutes, I also have to write new jokes. And you're like, and then you start realizing, man, and so you work your job, you go home, you sit in front of the TV with your radio, with your notepad, you write jokes, then you go out to the open mic and you do the things that, it takes time. And you got to work every day. You're like, oh, I can't go out every day. But for instance, if you didn't have to work, if you were, let's say, what's that fuck's name? Chris D'Elia, right? He's the son of a Hollywood producer, which means he had a bunch of money and he didn't have to really work, probably. And all he did was go to the Comedy Store and hang out there all the time. All the time. Because he didn't have to go to work. And like, oh, those people become successful. Well, why do you think that is? People who are poor, like, for instance, a lot of people don't know this, but Rodney Dangerfield didn't become famous until he was like 60 or older. He was around 60-ish. The whole rest of his life, he was doing like what I've been doing my life. He was selling vacuums, or he was a paint salesman. He did comedy and he quit, and then he went back and then he quit, and he's working, and like he didn't become famous till he was old. A lot of people, they go, oh, and if you think about it, there ain't no pictures of young Rodney, or at least doing comedy. He didn't, like I say, he didn't become famous till he was old. That's because he never stopped. And at least he got to live the last part of his life. You know, he made shitloads of money and everyone loved him and he got all the accolades he deserved. Julia says, or you can save enough, you can buy a radio ad spot for about 3 days before your gig. Yeah, well, there's always that too. We never bought radio ads because we never had the money. Well, our money went to buying equipment and paying for a practice space. And like I said, you know, when we started making, I think the first show that we played, we made $500. I will say this: when I was in that band in Florida, we made money. Like we got paid at least $500 every show, and a cooler of beer. We like want $500 and a case of beer. We have a rider, but like, that was our demand. $500 and a case of beer. And we didn't pack the place. You know, like people are gonna come. And they paid us. Around here, it's like you don't get that much in Ohio. Unless you think you can pack a place. I said, then you make a door deal or something. That's what I did was, when I ran a club, I told them, basically you're renting my club. This is how much it costs to do a show here. But if you give me that money, you get every single dollar that comes through the door. And so therefore it was on them, you know, the promoters or whatever. And I wasn't even charging that much. It was like I had a security guy. I paid $50 a night or some shit, and then I had a sound guy. I paid $75 a night. So it was like $125 or $150. You pay me so I can pay them, and I just turned around and gave the money to them. It was really to cover their salaries, and I made money off selling drinks. Everyone benefits in that situation. It's like the artists get some money if they fill the place and make money. And if they fill the place, then I'm going to make money because I sold drinks. So I do well, they do well, and then I was able to pay the door, you know, the security man and the sound guy with that money. I didn't make a dime off of that fee. It was I thought it was a good system. Because it makes the promoters or the bands, you know, want to promote their show. Because you get 100 people, you pay $5 each to come in the door. Now you got $500. Now you pay me $150, so you made $350. You know, but you could get way more than 100 people in my club. It was a pretty big club. Julia says Rich made his money as a music instructor. He didn't get paid shit to play bass with Head East. Right. Roger only paid him and the other guys about $200 each per gig. He was in Head East. The real Head East? Don't Head East play that song? Save my life, I'm going down for the last time. I thought that name of that band was Head East. You're like, well, at least they had one hit. No, it's just like the band I'm in now. It's like, if you hear about it all the time. It's like, should I still be playing music? Well, why not? It's like, well, what else am I going to do? What the fuck am I doing? You know? And all you need is one song. You get one hit. He was in that band, Julia? Really? I can't believe they didn't make money. That was a big hit. Well, back then it was different too. Like now, if that would happen to him now, he would have made money because Spotify and YouTube and all these, they would have got checks coming from all over the place. Back then, he probably had a shitty record deal, and the record company fucking ripped him off. That's probably what happened. Somebody, you know, whoever wrote that song had the publishing right. See, those are things that you don't know about when you're young and you're like, oh, I'm playing a band. Like, nobody knows about publishing. That's that thing. I've been watching that thing about Billy Joel on HBO. You should watch it. It's really good. I'm still on the first part, though. But that happened to him. He signed a terrible deal. And he wound up having to give the guy he signed the deal with. They had to pay him 25 cents for every Billy Joel album sold for 10 fucking years for Clive to get him away from the other label. Right, that guy Roger, he probably had the publishing rights, right? That's why bands like if you have a lot of talented people in a band like Queen, like they had a bunch of arguing. That's eventually what caused McCartney and Lennon, I think, to have tension as well. Was who's gonna write the songs, and then everybody in Queen was like could write songs, so they're all fighting to get songs on the album. And if they wrote the song, they get the publishing rights, so they're gonna make money, so it becomes a financial thing. I've said, like, I've already thought about it with this new band. I'm gonna just tell them we should just make a deal where all of us are on the rights and we just split it 4 ways, because I don't want to argue, like I'm writing the lyrics, sure, but they're writing the songs. I don't want to be arguing about money, and that's even like, are you gonna do something? But I'm saying, if something did happen, you should have already discussed this stuff, because this is why bands break up all the time. You get a good band, they get signed, and then they start arguing about money and who's getting paid for this and that and the other. It's like if you see Pilots, I don't know how they had the publishing set up, but Stone Temple Pilots, their songs always say like music written by Stone Temple Pilots, lyrics written by Weiland. Like I don't know what kind of deal they made. Like. Or at least say 50-50, I would never say like, oh, I wrote all the lyrics to this song, that means it's my song. And I should get all the money. It's like, well, yeah, but you didn't write the guitar riff, you knew the drums, And plus, all different bands write music different. Like, some bands will come in and the guy will go, I wrote this song. And then, like Trent Reznor, he just wrote all of his own shit and he hired people to play it. But there are bands where the guy will come in and go, I wrote the song, here it goes, the riff is like this, and he'll go, the drummer parts are like this, and sometimes he'll even have played all that stuff and have a tape. And then he just basically tells the other guys what to play. And they do it, and then he'll go, song written by John Smith or whatever, and he get all the rights, publishing rights for writing that song. But I've never been in a band like that. Or the first band I was ever in, they wrote all the music, and then they just gave me the tape, and I'd take this, and the songs were completed, like it was a song, but you just didn't have any vocals. So I would just take that tape and then write the vocals, and then we'd practice it, But and then when I came home and started Broken Head, we just jammed songs, So the songs were written organically. Julia is saying it's a fun trivia for you. Rich's first band after high school was with Vinnie Casano. Vinnie Vincent. Vinnie Vincent. Kiss is like 47th guitar player. He had the Vinnie Vincent invasion. It's like after he was in Kiss, they threw him out. I don't know why they threw him out. Can't remember what he did to get thrown out. Kiss never did like a guitar player. Like after Ace Frehley, they threw him out, and then like they just kept get a guitar player and then throw him out. Get another one, throw him out. Then they fired Peter Criss. It's like, let's get a new drummer. Kiss is Paul and Gene. I mean, come on. And the same thing about the money in Kiss. If it's Kiss, it's Paul and Gene. The other guys they just paid them. Hired guns. You know what I mean? Like, That's what I mean. Like 9 Inch Nails is Trent Reznor. That's it. He probably doesn't have anybody when he makes a record. He probably does all of it himself, and then he hires people to play when he plays live. But he wrote all the parts and everything himself. I don't know if he played all his drums. I don't know enough. I don't know like the history of 9 Inch Nails. I know he had a band. The guys that were in Filter were in his band. That's where Filter came from. They were like, well, let's make our own band. They did okay. They had some hit songs. What was that guy's name? Richard Patrick. I don't know the guitar player, but those two guys, they were Filter, and they started off in Trent Reznor's band in 9 Inch Nails. I always imagined, like I said, that Reznor just made his own albums, and then because he produced too, so he did everything. It's like Ministry. Ministry, like when it started, is Al Jorgensen, and like there was one other guy, I think, and they make the records themselves. And then when they went on tour, they'd go, "We need a guitar player or whatever." They just hire guys, and then they go, "You're gonna play this." The songs are already done. Like you just learn the songs and you show up and play. In this new band, we're doing it like we did in Broken Head, where like they just jam and then till we fall onto something, and then you go, "Hey, that's something. We can make a song out of it." You just start jamming and you record everything, and then you listen back to what you did, and you go, "Hey, right here, we could take these things, we put them together, and make a song." It's not like somebody comes in and goes, "Here's a song, play it like this." Like that always seemed boring. And then one time we tried to have Chris in Broken Head, and that's what he did because he's a producer. And he started coming in with songs and be like, "Hey, there's a song," and he'd be like, "The drums part should go like this." And then Charlie and John were like, "No, we don't want to play like that," because they don't have to be creative, which I don't blame them. I mean, like I said, if you're a musician, you want to be creative. You don't want to just be like I guess there are people like that, who like hired studio gun, who just plays whatever people tell him to play. But some people want to be creative, and you go, "Hey, I want to be able to write my own parts. I don't want some guy telling me that just play this, play a shuffle beat in 3/4 time. That's boring. That's what you did in high school or whatever, like reading sheet music. Where it's like, we're trying to create something here." Like, and the guys, now the guitar player in this band, he be like sending me riffs, and that's kind of cool. Like at least I have a kind of an idea of what he's thinking, and you go, "Okay, I can hear this riff." So when I go to rehearsal, if he starts playing that riff, I already have like an idea of what I should do because I heard it before, which is cool. You get like a head start. But I've been in lots of bands where nothing. You just go to rehearsal space and you just turn on all your shit, and everybody starts playing. And if you're a vocalist or whatever, you just wait for them to hit a groove, and then you just start doing some shit, and then you just make it up. So it's like improvise, but then once you improvise it, you go, "Okay, there's something there. We can take that and make it into a song," and then you make it into something. A lot of times, I'll even keep like the theme, whatever, because I think it's important. Like whatever they play, the music, whatever it makes me feel and makes me think of. I think that's important because you're like, okay, that's the mood of the song. It made me think of a certain thing, and so I start riffing on this topic. But then you're like, I'm gonna keep the theme of the song. A lot of times I'll keep the theme, or in the chorus even will just come out. And then you go, I just have to flesh out the lyrics. You go, how many lines are there? And you gotta write all the lines. Make it all fit in. But I never show up like with a notebook that's got a bunch of shit written in it and be like, well, let me try to read out this notebook and make it fit into whatever they're playing. You know, it doesn't work like that. You know, if you're going to write songs like that, you have to play the guitar, or like, I guess it could work. There's a guy sends me a guitar riff, and okay, I can figure out like what I should do, and I can write a bunch of lyrics, and like this is theoretically how it could go, but I don't know how they're going to play it. You know what I mean? So. I've not played music in so many years. I had forgotten, like that part of my brain like went to sleep. Well, I never went to sleep because I listen to music constantly, but I'm saying like making music, which I did for 30 years. You know, I've been doing it since I was a kid. Well, I took some time off doing comedy lessons. I'd say it was like 8 years at least. Because I played in JAR right before I left here. It's been about 8 years I didn't play music. But I've been doing it my whole life. But like I said, I kind of forgot about that part of my brain. Then I went and jammed with these guys and was like, oh, it woke back up. It was like, whoa. And they were like, can I still do this? I haven't done it in a long time. And then they're not really playing really heavy-ass metal, which I'm used to being in. So I was like, okay, I don't have to yell and scream all the time. I can stretch out my voice and attempt to actually sing, which I never really did a lot of. So that's interesting too. And then it's like, can I sing? I don't know. I mean, I've always kind of been able to, but what I'm doing now is definitely closer to like really singing than anything I've ever done. It's like usually it's like a rapping or yelling and screaming. And, the music that we're making now is different than anything I've ever done before, and that's another reason I think why my brain is like woke up like, whoa, it's new and interesting, creative, and like I said, I'm getting old. I can't just be up there yelling, screaming. It's like, look at that old guy just yelling and screaming. It's like, I can't do that anymore. And like, if I figure this out, I'll have more longevity. You know, I would burn my voice out by yelling, screaming all the time. Julia says, Vinny wrote most of his songs on Lick It Up. Gene and Paul got the publisher rights. Right. Right. You think Gene calls him up every now and then, hey man, you need some money? No. Nope. That's why I thought it was cool. That was the one thing I thought was cool in that Metallica movie. When they hired Robert Trujillo. Yes, the streaming is going good. It hasn't stopped. When they hired Trujillo and they gave him $1 million, they were like, here's $1 million. We don't want you to feel like, you know, he's still broke living in his mom's house and playing in Metallica and they're all like multi-millionaires. They were like, here's $1 million. Of course, that's an advance on, you know, the records that we're going to sell. But, you know, they're going to sell those records. So, like, they're like, we don't want you to feel like, you know, you're not one of us. So, here's $1 million. He went from being a side hustle, like, hired gun bass player in multiple bands to being a millionaire overnight. It's like hitting the lottery. And you get to play in Metallica. Plus, I'm sure he gets a cut of live show money and all that shit, merch. You know, so he's doing all right. But I thought that was pretty cool. They didn't have to do that. Yeah, Julia. You know what's weird is when you make music. Like I keep listening to this song we wrote, and I'm like, I think this is pretty good, you know. But of course you're in it, so of course you're gonna go, I think this is pretty good, you know. Yeah, like, man, this is fucking terrible. Who the fuck is this guy? It's like, oh, it's you. Oh. Of course you're fucking gonna go, this is pretty good. Now I find myself wanting to like play it for other people and be like, tell me what you think. Because like I said, this is not like anything I've done before. I mean it's still rock and roll, of course, but I'm saying I always been in loud ass metal bands or a loud ass punk rock band. You know, this is like a trippy rock band. It kind of, but it gets a little heavy, but it's not like it's not tuned down. You know, it's pretty standard sounding keys. You know, for rock and roll, it's not like let's tune down to fucking drop. Double D, you know. I've been in a lot of bands like that. They're like, you know, they just yell and scream a lot, you know, and they play guitar. This is more like, I don't know, like I said, it's just different than anything I've done. I don't know how I got off talking about myself. I guess because, yes, Julia, dream gig. Yeah, play it for fucking Metallica. Did you watch that movie? All the people that tried out, Eric Avery from Jane's Addiction tried out. Like, there was a bunch of famous bass players from famous bands were trying to get into Metallica. Now you know why he wanted to get out of Jane's Addiction. It's like, oh, man, they're fucking dealing with Perry all the time. He might punch you in the face anytime. Like, why is that skinny fuck fucking trying to fight people? That's all I want to know. It's like, you need Dave Navarro and Perry Farrell. Dave Navarro is a really, like, gentle, peaceful guy. You know, otherwise, Dave Navarro would just fucking punch him and knock his head off. Like, you seen him? He's ripped. It's like, Perry Farrell's like a skinny heroin junkie that weighs about 125 pounds. It's like, he's up there trying to punch people. That's when you know he's high. You know, it's like, man, this guy. Like, you see this guy? It's like, stand up next to each other. Like, who's gonna win in a fight? I like Perry Farrell, but you don't stand a fucking chance. It's like, Navarro was ripped. That's it. He's definitely kept himself in shape. But he's not a violent dude, you know, he's like a hippie dude. That's why you see him, he just took it. Yes, I've always tried. Julia says Perry Farrell has what Rich used to call a bad case of LSD, lead singer's disease. I'm still blown away by the fact that your husband was in Head East. Like I said, you know, I knew that song as soon as you said that. Because I started listening to music when I was like 5 years old. It's like, I know a lot of my records and bands, and you know, like, like the Cars, for instance. The Cars was Rick Ocasek. You know, he wrote all the songs. He hired them guys to tell him what to play. You know, and I don't think he told them. Or how to play guitar, you know, or whatever. I mean, the solos. But the songs, he's like, these are the songs. And he was the writer and the producer, you know, like he put the whole thing together. So you get all the money, you know, the publishing money at least. But see, when I get to my original point, when you're young and you just start in a band, you don't know anything about any of that. And so people take advantage of you. I will say this. I'm in the position now that I've made enough records. They're like, this band, we're going to make our own record. And then I'll either shop it around or just start selling it myself. And it's going to sound good because I've been in made several records, and I know all the ones that sounded good and all the ones that didn't. And I know all the mistakes that we made. And if something were to happen, I know more about the business. Julia says, yeah, still starstruck. Now you know I'm having such a hard time losing them. Well, I mean, you were together a long time. That's why. It doesn't matter about that. He was way too talented for Headies. He should have been playing with bigger names. Yeah, he could have, I guess. He would have hired gun for somebody, you know. Like Josh Freese. Josh Freese never really been in a band. He's played with, like, all the best bands you can imagine. He's never really in the band. You know what I mean? He's a hired gun. You fire your drummer and you go, we need a drummer tomorrow. Like, call Josh Freese. He's that guy. He's like, I'll show up and know the songs. He's been in a shitload of bands. Now, he was in Perfect Circle, but he didn't stay long, did he? He never stays very long in a band. I was surprised that he didn't try to get into Primus. But I think Primus was like, we don't want to hire you and then have you leave, you know, and go through this again. We just want to find a drummer who's going to be in the band, you know. Because it's a pain in the ass. That's a pain in the ass, too. Trying to find a guy every other week. That's another thing. Is like, bands are luck. It's luck. Like, the very fact that I found these guys and I liked what they were doing and we got along. Like, there's so many factors that have to go right. And a lot of times it doesn't, you know. Or you go, well, I like this band, but I don't like that guy who plays guitar. He's a fucking asshole, you know. And you can usually stomach that for a while, but then that comes out, you know, later, and then you fight, and then the guy gets wanted. You go, well, you throw him out or I quit, you know. Or and it's like a marriage, you know. Like, the very fact that you could get all these things together, they all have to line up, you know, and then you all have to be compatible to what you're doing, you know, and then like the music that you're writing, and like, you know, the fact that you could line all these things up and get them all going, like, to me, it's a sign that I should be in this band, you know. It's like, yes, Julia, it is, because when I went to jam the first time with them, I must admit I was nervous. You know, like, oh, I haven't played in a long time, you know. Can I still do this? You know, am I going to be any good? You know, like, and then they started playing. It's like, oh, this ain't nothing like nothing I've ever. I can't just start yelling and screaming over this. It's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So I had to, like, invent a way to fit myself in. And I had heard, like, the guy sent me a tape of them playing with no vocals. So I was like, oh, this is like trippy, jammy, you know, like. And of course, I think they've gotten a little bit more rocky since I started playing with them. Because the stuff I heard was like trippy, psychedelic-y kind of. And you're like, okay, I think I could figure out a way to fit into this. But it was not like what we're doing now, which is more like songs. You know. Anyway, I'm sure I'm boring people talking about this stuff. I'm going to get out of here because I'm going out. I'm going to go watch the music now. There's a music festival down Covington, so I'm going to go check that out, I think. And as usual, I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. And Julia, you are, yes, a band is a marriage. And usually it doesn't work out. That's why you hear a lot of divorces. Or they're a band, but they don't talk. Like, they just show up to rehearsals, play, and like, I never want to get in that situation. If it's not fun, I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be like, hate this fucking guy, but this, it's the way we make money, so I have to fucking to put up with him. Anyway, I'm gonna go play some listen to some music. I'll be back on Tuesday at 6 o'clock, as always, and thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I am Bruce Leonard. This is Bruce Leonard Leans Left. While it's still legal. It is still legal. I hate to be a shill, but I said if you watch on YouTube or whatever, hit the like button. You know, if you haven't done it, subscribe. Thank you for hanging out. I said, I'm here 3 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am Bruce Leonard. I said, go out and enjoy your weekend. I love you. Good night.
Sometimes